simply, a soul's quest is we speak about it in all of our episodes, and basically we're focused on the individual. So what is the individual to do?
That's a good question. I mean, I could talk from experience, and and I'm hesitant to give like 1, 2, 3. This is what you need to do. The 5 steps to.
I don't think it goes. I don't think it's that easy.
No, because it's like doing this, I have to learn a lot about copywriting, because you have I'm running a business. I have to make sure that people are watching this and people are seeing it. How do you drive traffic to it? Your content has to be completely great, or you have to say something that really resonates with people. And I don't believe that there is like a 1, 2, 3 step, right?
Right.
Does a plant grow in steps?
Well, you got
only if you superimpose a grid on top of it, right? It's like there's this Alan Watts has this episode in which he draws like this squiggly line, right? And he says, okay, can you tell where this line is gonna go? And he is like, no, because, I mean, without it, you don't know. It's just could go this way, could go that way. But then what we do is that we superimpose a grid on top of that line and try to project, how I was gonna get there. I trade a little bit, so like I understand about moving averages and trends and retracements and things like that, and the deviations of it all. I get that. But when it comes to a process of growing as an individual, and what is a person to do, it's like it's almost as if each individual has to create their own religion.
Okay, what do you mean?
What I mean by that is like, I just gave you 3 examples, right? The Buddha, Christ, and Muhammad, right? Those are 3 examples that we all globally know and most people understand, most people admire. Those are 3 examples. It's like you have to go. I mean, every single one of those people, those 3 people, think of anybody of significance: Mandela, Einstein, Gandhi. Any person of any significance. I know that I mentioned just all males there, but there's a lot of females that have done this too. They just didn't get the recognition because the media at that time was just focused on just males. But anyways, I digress. But those people spend a large amount of time by themselves, thinking, in introspection, reflecting, meditating, looking inside of themselves to be able to make sense of all these conflicting things inside of them.
Yeah.
That's like a common denominator. Now, you could get help, and I suggest people, go to somebody and talk to someone about these things that are happening inside of you, because then you're able, because then that person is able to provide guidance as to what you're going through, and this is part of our objectives. Our objective is like when you listen to our individual stories, in the stories that we tell, that we share with other people.
You mean like our interviews?
Our interviews, yeah.
It's like other people's
other
stories.
people, because it's a shared experience that we all take. We all embark on it.
There's certain things that you resonate with.
We all embark on these on our journey, on our quest. So the commonalities and are things that we shared. Some of us are more aware of them than others, but we share them.
Right.
So you start learning by looking at the right models. Right.
It's interesting because if people are watching our podcast, which I strongly encourage people to do, or listen to us, if you aren't aware of something by listening to those stories, you start to think,
you recognize something.
Oh, that's something that, okay,
it
I
resonates.
get it. It does.
Yeah.
And that's that development, right? That self-development that I was talking to or alluding to at some point.
It's that commonality inside of us.
Right.
Because this stuff is universal.
Of course.
It's not for a specific group.
Right.
You know, and it's not for a selective few.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the fallacy in the thought process. You know, that you know, in the past we had the priest or the Brahman. You know, that this is the origin of the old caste system, right? The caste system went from Brahman to the merchants to the royalty merchants, and then the serfs at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's because everybody thinks that these ideas are a monopoly of a certain group.
Mm-hmm. But it's not.
But it's not. This is the traits and the attributes that we all have inside of us. Now, whether you choose to listen or not, that's a different story. Right. You know, you could be listening to this right now and say, "Oh, this people make no sense,"
right?
And that's okay. That's your life, and you could make a good life. But whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you realize it or not, you are a part of it,
right? And also, not taking responsibility or being accountable for that can be, which is something that we talk about, destructive to another individual or other people or other, and that is the. I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest point that we're making here is you have to be self-aware.
Yeah. So once you become aware of do you have this duality, right?
I have good and evil.
You have good and evil is within me, and whatever choice I make, it's going to have a potential to
consequence. Yeah,
it's going to have consequences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people, and you're gonna say, well, I'm going to try to. How can I say this? Once you understand that this potentiality is within you, and once you understand that your life could affect others, even if it's insignificant, even if you feel that it's insignificant,
that your behaviors and actions affect
others, right? Now you have the responsibility to choose.
Okay.
Right?
That's our freedom.
That it's powerful.
It is.
That is freedom, you know? Because now you could choose.
Right.
Right? And like I understand, for instance, like when we did an episode on race, and I understand the hatred towards towards police, right? I don't condone it because I don't think that's right to hate anybody, but I understand it. I understand it from this standpoint, right? How is it that a person hides behind the uniform, knows that they're doing something immorally wrong that could be completely against their personal values, but they still do it because they're hiding behind that uniform? You see it in wars. You're seeing in the way that we treat our enemies, because we're protecting something.
So you're not just talking about law enforcement. You're talking about just in general.
I'm just saying that I understand it.
Yeah,
you know,
I got you.
And I understand it because a person that's being responsible for others, you could take advantage of situations, and you could hide behind. I mean, and I've seen it. I mean, it's happened to me. Well, you know, this is what HR says, and this is what I could do, but it's not the right thing to do.
It's not the right thing. Yeah.
It's not.
But they did it.
But they did it because in the name of this, because this is what he says. It's like, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. But this is the way things are.
That's what I have to do.
You know, it's like I always look at those documentaries when a cop, like in the 60s, when you see those riots, and they have no qualms about just shooting into a crowd of people they don't even know, just for the sake of protecting society, but at the same token, you're killing your own people, you know, and you're hiding. Well, I'm just doing my job. That's a way. I mean, this is what the Nazis did. I'm just doing my job.
Yeah,
you know, knowing full well that what you're doing is wrong, but you have almost like a license to do that.
Right.
Right. And we hide behind those things, you know? So an individual needs to be able to recognize, right? And this is one of the biggest lessons that you could learn from history is that you have a small percentage of people who are psychopaths, who are a small percentage. You know, you could look at any situation. Racism, small percentage. Oppression, a small percentage. You look at it, right? But what I always had an issue is not those people, because those are a small minority. It's like everybody else that was a conformist.
Mm-hmm.
It's my job.
Yeah.
So you have the individual has the potential. The individual has the potential to be able to say, you know what, I know that this is within me, and it's within me. It's within the collective, and I choose not to. That's really what this masks are all about, And now we do need to give ourselves that space. We need to give the devil its due to play, and we have to be aware of it and not suppress it. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people want to do is like, oh, I need to suppress my anger. No, you got to feel your anger.
You have to go through the emotions. It's how you act on those things that matter. You know what I mean? And if you're acting in a way of, I recognize that I have this potential. I recognize that I have these things within me. Let me process that. Let me experience that. Then you're better able to, or better equipped to manage that.
Yeah.
And therefore the consequences are less, they're lessened. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And at the end of it all, it's as much as and science has already proven this. I think it is without a shadow of a doubt. And this is a fact, right? This is a fact. That we're all pretty much the same. We share 99.9% of the DNA. Makeup-wise, we're all the same. There's not one person that's superior to another.
Right.
Or one, even animals. It's not that one animal is superior to the other.
Well, isn't that what it says in our Constitution? All men are created equal.
Yeah.
Men and women.
And that was a potential. People say, well, no, we're not really, because they have slaves. And I'm like, I get it. But it was a it is a potential to strive for.
Right.
Equality. All men are created equal. Not that we're going to get the same things.
Exactly. That's not what it means.
No, that's not what it means.
Right.
It's not that we're going to get the same things.
Right.
But the dignity in the way that we treat each other, it's important. And that's why when you look at a situation, you look at an individual, you're able to feel compassion in an individual. And the reason why you're able to feel compassion within an individual, after you go past the stage of anger and all that stuff, right? And for you to move on, is because you have to accept and look at them for their duality, right? We only see people particularly now with social media, we only see people in their positive aspects because that's the mask, the persona that they want to project out there.
Yeah.
But that's not the entirety of it all. So it is silly to compare and live our lives based on a comparison to a persona that somebody creates.
That they put out there.
Right? And once you understand, people are more complex than that. So they might be showing that, but I don't know exactly what they are. I like that aspect of their personality.
Right.
But I don't know how everything else is.
Right.
So who am I to judge?
Right.
Who am I to judge? And tell me which religion doesn't say that. Judge not.
Yeah, that's true.